everyone, welcome to our podcast. My name is Jennifer, and I'm so excited to be here with you today.
And I'm David. We're here to help you learn English while talking about fun and interesting topics. Today, we're talking about travel.
Yes, travel. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love visiting new places, meeting new people, and trying new food.
Me too. Travel can teach us so much. But first, let's talk about why people travel. Jennifer, why do you think people like to travel?
Well, I think people travel for different reasons. Some people travel for fun, like going on vacation. They want to relax and enjoy their time. Other people travel to learn, like when they visit museums or historical places. What about you, David?
I agree, and some people travel to see family or friends. For example, if someone lives far away from their parents or relatives, they might take a plane or train to visit them.
That's true. And don't forget about business travel. Some people travel for work. They might go to meetings or conferences in other cities or countries.
Oh, yes. Business travel can be exciting, but it can also be very busy. You don't always have time to explore the place you're visiting.
Right. Speaking of exploring, let's talk about some popular travel destinations. David, where do you think most people like to go on vacation?
That's a good question. I think many people like to go to the beach. A warm place with sunny weather, like Hawaii or the Caribbean. What do you think?
Absolutely, beaches are very popular. But I also think cities are great for travel. Places like Paris, New York, or Tokyo, you can see famous landmarks, go shopping, and eat delicious food.
That's true, and some people love nature. They might visit mountains, forests, or national parks. Have you ever been to a national park?
Yes, I went to Yellowstone National Park last year. It was amazing. The mountains, the waterfalls, and even the animals. It was like being in a dream.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I've been to the Grand Canyon. It's so big and beautiful. When you stand at the edge, you feel so small.
Nature can really make us feel connected to the world. But let's talk about something that's very important when traveling planning. David, how do you usually plan a trip?
Good question. First, I decide where I want to go. Then, I look for flights or trains. After that, I find a place to stay, like a hotel or an Airbnb. What about you?
I do something similar. I also like to make a list of things I want to do. For example, if I'm going to a city, I'll look up famous places to visit or good restaurants to try.
Oh, making a list is smart. It helps you make the most of your time. But do you ever feel stressed when planning a trip?
Sometimes, yes, especially if there are too many choices. Like, which hotel is the best? Or what time should I take my flight? But I try to stay calm and think about how fun the trip will be.
That's a great way to think. And remember, it's okay if things don't go perfectly. Travel is an adventure, and sometimes the unexpected moments are the best.
Very true, like when I missed my train in Italy, but then I met some friendly people who helped me find another way. It was stressful at first, but it became a great memory.
That's a perfect example. Travel can be full of surprises, and that's part of what makes it exciting.
Exactly. Oh, David, do you have any funny travel stories?
Oh, yes. Once I was in a small town in Spain, and I ordered what I thought was chicken. But when it came to the table, it was actually squid. I was surprised, but I tried it anyway, and it was delicious.
That's a great story. Trying new food is such a big part of travel. Sometimes it's a little scary, but it can also be fun and delicious.
Absolutely. Travel is all about stepping out of your comfort zone and trying new things.
I agree, and I think that's a good place to pause for now. We'll continue talking about travel in the next part, so stay tuned.
All right, let's keep going. In the last part, we talked about planning trips and why people like to travel. Now, let's talk about how people travel. Jennifer, what's your favorite way to travel?
I think my favorite way is by plane. It's fast, and you can go very far, even to another country. What about you?
I like planes too, but I also enjoy trains. They're slower, but you can see so much along the way. I remember taking a train through the Swiss Alps. It was so beautiful.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I like trains too, especially for shorter trips. They're comfortable, and you don't have to worry about traffic.
Exactly. And some people really love road trips driving their own car. Have you ever done a road trip?
Yes, I did a road trip with my friends last year. We drove along the coast, stopped at small towns, and even camped in a forest. It was so much fun.
That sounds perfect. Road trips give you a lot of freedom. You can stop whenever you want and explore hidden places.
True, but road trips can also be tiring, especially if you drive for many hours.
That's a good point. It's important to take breaks and share the driving if you can.
Right, now let's talk about some challenges people face when traveling. David, what do you think is the hardest part of traveling?
For me, it's packing. I always forget something, like my phone charger or my toothbrush. What about you?
Oh, packing can be tricky for me. It's speaking the local language. When I went to France, I only knew a few words in French. It was hard to ask for directions or order food.
That's a common problem, but I think most people are kind and will try to help you, even if you don't speak their language perfectly.
That's true. And now we have tools like translation apps to make it easier.
Yes, technology helps a lot. Speaking of technology, what apps or tools do you use when you travel?
Oh, I love using maps on my phone to find my way around. And I also use apps to book hotels or find restaurants. What about you?
I use those too. I also like apps that show public transportation schedules, like trains and buses. They save a lot of time.
Definitely. But even with all these tools, things can still go wrong. Like when flights get delayed or canceled.
Oh, yes, that can be so frustrating. Have you ever had a big problem with a flight?
Yes, once my flight was canceled, and I had to stay in the airport overnight. It was terrible, but I met some other travelers, and we shared snacks and stories.
That's a good way to turn a bad situation into something positive. Travel can be unpredictable, but it's also full of surprises.
Exactly. And sometimes those surprises make the best stories to tell later.
Speaking of stories, let's talk about souvenirs. Do you like to buy souvenirs when you travel?
Oh, I love souvenirs. I always try to find something small, like a magnet or a postcard, to remind me of the place I visited.
That's a great idea. I like to buy local food or snacks to bring back home. It's like taking a piece of the trip with you.
Yes, food is a wonderful souvenir, and it's fun to share it with friends or family.
Absolutely. Travel is not just about where you go, but also about the memories you make and the people you meet.
That's so true. Okay, I think we've covered a lot in this part. Let's stop here and continue in the next one.
So, let's pick up where we left off. We talked about souvenirs and the memories we make when we travel. But I was thinking, Jennifer, what about travel tips? Do you have any advice for people who want to make their trips easier or more fun?
Oh, definitely. My first tip is to pack light. Don't bring too many clothes or things you don't need. It makes traveling so much easier.
That's a great tip. Carrying a heavy suitcase can be such a hassle. My tip would be to always keep your important things like your passport, wallet, and phone safe and close to you.
Oh, yes, that's so important. Losing your passport in another country can be a nightmare. Another tip I have is to plan ahead, but not too much. Leave some time to explore and try something unexpected.
I like that. Sometimes the best part of travel is finding something by accident, like a little cafe or a beautiful park.
Exactly. And if you're traveling to another country, it's a good idea to learn a few basic phrases in the local language. Even just saying hello or thank you can make a big difference.
That's true. People really appreciate it when you try to speak their language, even if it's just a few words.
Right? Oh, and one more tip. Always check the weather before you go. You don't want to pack summer clothes if it's going to be cold and rainy.
Good point. Being prepared for the weather can save you a lot of trouble. Okay, Jennifer, I have a fun question for you. If you could visit any place in the world right now, where would you go?
Oh, that's such a hard question, but I think I would go to Japan. I've always wanted to see the cherry blossoms and visit the temples. What about you?
Japan sounds amazing. For me, I think I'd go to New Zealand. I'd love to see the mountains and the beautiful countryside.
Oh, New Zealand looks so stunning in pictures. Both places would be incredible to visit.
Absolutely. Travel lets us see how big and beautiful the world really is. And it also helps us understand other cultures better.
That's so true. When we travel, we learn that people everywhere are different, but also similar in many ways.
Exactly. Travel teaches us a lot, not just about the world, but also about ourselves.
I couldn't agree more. Well, I think we've covered so much in today's podcast.
Yes, we talked about why people travel, how they travel, and even some tips and funny stories.
And we hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation.
If you liked this podcast, please give it a thumbs up.
And don't forget to leave a comment. We'd love to hear about your favorite travel memories or tips.
Yes, share your thoughts with us. And if you know someone who's learning English or loves travel, please share this podcast with them.
Thank you so much for listening today.
We had a great time, and we hope you did too.
Take care, everyone, and keep exploring the world.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.